What's going on, guys? I caught a glimpse of this story the other day, but just haven't had the time to react to it with New Year's. Happy New Year, it's 2022. Still, after all this time, issues persist within the Blizzard company. Some messages that were obviously made privately in a Discord of a Blizzard employee were made public, which ousted this guy as not a very good guy. Pretty much demonizes him and makes him look like a real big asshole. And so he was let go from the company. While I understand the notion of free speech as it pertains to America, I think there's certainly a limit as to what is acceptable free speech and what is hateful and damaging free speech. There's a lot of people who want to say their piece but don't necessarily exercise any tact in how they want to explain their viewpoint, which is where it becomes an issue when you're working for a AAA game company. So if you're not willing to censor yourself, at least to some degree, even in your private life, like granted, this guy was speaking from his heart in a private setting. This is the era of information and there's no more privacy. You need to conduct yourself as if at any point what you say can and will be held against you in the court of the people, I guess you could say. And this is no exception. Let's see what Asmongold had to say on it. The title is At Least They Have Giant Tits. So I'm assuming that's one of the messages that came through from this gentleman, if you can call him that. You know, you may end up seeing a lot of your favorite game companies, at least in my eyes, it's already happened. Blizzard, Ubisoft, where there's a lot of turmoil within, where you're seeing people being let go from their jobs for their beliefs. You saw it in Star Wars when it was Gino Carano who was let go for saying that being a Republican is like being Jewish in the Holocaust, which was a good illustration of how she felt. However, maybe could have chose a different illustration. Point received, but also maybe a little forethought working for a family company like Disney as to how much you believe they're all for family and not for profit. They're one of the largest entertainment companies for the younger generation. And when you say things that bring up horrible atrocities, we're not denying that it's a bad thing, but it's not a good look. And so ultimately what happened is her getting let go from The Mandalorian. In any case, let's get into this and see what he has to say.
I think we're looking at a big old fucking goose egg, boys. So, former Blizzard employee Jeff Frazier, one of the originals, was fired recently for selling off all of his Blizzard reward items online. Oh, he got fired and then started selling them. He didn't get fired for selling them. And then Twitter threads began of why he was fired. Jeff was part of a Discord server called Right Wing of Gaming, where he was ousting trans employees and being openly racist and sexist. Multiple HR reports were made about him, and he allegedly was using his status to tell executives at the company who should be fired or laid off.
I think having a Discord called Right Wing of Gaming is a bad idea. I think having a Discord of Left Wing of Gaming is a bad idea. Why would you convolute fun with politics? Ugh. Like, everyone has their political beliefs, but that's the dumbest play of the year.
After the lawsuit was filed, he began complaining in Discord about certain employees that were openly telling their stories to investigators about abuse and harassment at the company. And he complained that he couldn't get them fired because they got all of his friends fired. So this is really, like, I don't really care about this. I think that you can be, I think it should be okay for you to be right-wing and have a job at a company, right?
But don't openly talk about that or be part of groups that discuss that. You don't want to have that political extremism. Like, when you say right wing of gaming, it's left to interpretation how far on that political spectrum you lie. And it's obvious in the year 2021, going into 2022, that your political siding, your beliefs, are going to be held accountable. I think we all know when it comes to gaming, especially in role-playing games, what the divide between left and right is, generally speaking. I'm completely speculatory on this, but we're going to say it heavily weighs towards the left side. Why even talk about it? Why even have it be a part of who you are publicly? Keep your thoughts to yourself or sleep in the bed that you make. Obviously, this guy got what he deserved because, as far as I can tell, he is probably saying some pretty hateful things.
It's not really that big of a deal. This is, though, like, whenever you're using that place to basically find as a plan, as what's the word for it, as like a base of operations to figure out how to fuck over employees at your work, then that's really, really fucking bad. That's actually bad. And in my opinion, multiple HR reports were made about him, and he was allegedly using his status to tell executives at the company who should be fired or laid off. Now, the allegedly here, this is usually, do you actually believe this? Yes, I would believe this. Yeah, I would probably believe this. Like, based off of what he was saying and everything like this, yeah, I'll believe it. Is there a reason for me not to believe it? Now, granted, I'm not sure.
Sure.
I don't know. They could all be lying, and Jeff could just be a guy who's on the conservative side, and, you know, he got pushed out by a bunch of SJWs at Blizzard. I think that's possible. Absolutely it is. But in my opinion,
there is, at least in my own experience, the type of person on the left side who's so extreme that they will seek out a means of ousting right-wingers. I don't consider myself to be on the right wing. However, people will draw conclusions about your character based on your opinions, and it seems as if this guy painted himself a target. Granted, he did so by being upset for all of his friends being fired. I feel as if Jeff, if your friends weren't fired, they probably would have been forced to resign at a point if they hold the same viewpoints that you seem to have.
It's probably not, especially what I've heard everything else about Blizzard, this guy being one of the original people, him being removed, and also screenshots of him saying stuff. Like, I can look at some of this here. All the interns are women too, at least.
So the fuckers go, okay, to convince people to stay, here's $5,000 each, but payable in March 2024. Then the idiots go buy stock at the worst possible price. The next day it's $90. They immediately lose $700. So they're like, okay, now you get $4,300 in March 2024. Then the stupid fuckers act like they're doing you some favor. You're an owner of a company. I'd rather go somewhere else, make $30,000 more, buy $30,000 of a company that isn't assholes. They're worse than EA now. Working on my resume slowly. I suck. I think they know I didn't vaccine and are conservative. Ugh, I hate that language. So the 3 libtard bosses are trying to push me out. All the interns are women too. It's so dumb. At least one has giant tits. He has vampire teeth though. Okay. 2 indents / holes on either side. What? Not sure what that's about, but big dits / tits. She talks about her partner too, probably is lesbian. As the president loses fucking everyone of value, he makes time to send more dumb messages about stupid shit, Juneteenth, etc. There's 7 to 15 year people going on the daily basis now, more than 2019, even with the 700 layoffs. My team is now fucking 30 Activision people and like 4 Blizzard people. Blizzard is being eradicated, and my 3 idiot bosses don't care what happens or who quits. Fake positive attitude, everyone is replaced around them. Told me to quit reporting who is quitting. All hiring quit. They don't even want to work there to convince people to work there. This is like an emotional rant. There's no coherence to what he's saying. He's just going off about how upset he is because he's not getting his way. I mean, you're working for a large organization, i.e. Blizzard. You don't think they're going to be reactionary in favor of what gives them the best public relations? It's pretty naive of you. I get that you were part of the original Blizzard and you want things to be like the good old days, but that's not a reasonable expectation in this current climate. So if you're going to be that hardcore political, yeah, you're unfortunately going to have to face the wrath, whether it be from libtards or just from decent people who don't really care whether you're trans or lesbian or whatever. Just, I do have an issue with the hiring practices that are often trying to satisfy quotas rather than hiring on merits, but there is a line to be drawn when people are at a disadvantage automatically because of who they are before even considering their skills. I understand the good behind it, but at the same time, people like this, you know, there's a lot of people who want your job and probably are more deserving of it, considering you self-proclaim on your resume, you suck. Sounds like you suck.
This one has giant tits. She has vampire teeth, though. Talks about her partner, probably a lesbian. As the president loses everyone of value. going on a daily basis now. Blizzard is being eradicated. They just fake this positive attitude. Where is this here? He's just talking about money. So the 3 libtard bosses are trying to push me out. I think they know I didn't vaccine and are conservative. This is what my opinion is with somebody like this. It is where there's smoke, there's fire. I am going to assume that this person is probably not pleasant to be around.
Yeah.
Because no person in a calm and a sound state of mind talks like this and acts like this about other people. So my assumption with this person is that this is not just a conversation that he has on Discord. This is not just a private convo that got leaked against his consent or something like that, because I don't like that either, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think this person's probably a piece of shit at work. He's an...
Nobody is going to speak the same way they do publicly when they assume that what they're saying is in private. But this is Discord. Anyone who has access to this Discord is easily going to be able to share what you say. I feel like you barely even have the safety of saying things out loud anymore because of all the potential for recording. In the province of Ontario, if you're a part of a conversation, you're legally allowed to record that conversation without the knowledge of the other participants. That's something that I've been aware of just because of my learning disability. When I was in lectures for school, I wanted to make sure it was okay, that it wasn't breaking any laws. So this is... as damaging as it is to this person, they've done it themselves. It's shitty, but it just goes to show that if you don't have the beliefs that most benefit a company that's for profit, shut your mouth.
Asshole to other people. And I think that a lot of the accusations are probably fucking true.
Probably.
Now, I'm not sure, but I think that's probably the case. The more crazy they are, the more verbose the...
So based on that assumption, you can conclude that many of the people who might be interested in Blizzard products would also draw that conclusion. So even if it's not true, it's a bad look from a public relations perspective. You gotta go. That's the majority of large companies, especially within AAA gaming, are always going to have that reaction 100% of the time. Unless they're like the owner of the company and you can't get rid of them. In which case, you're going to have walkouts and protests and things like that. It'll be a different reaction, but the reaction will generally result in the same thing. People won't be happy. Most people probably care just about having good games, but as we've seen lately from AAA publishing companies, you're not getting the quality you used to from games. You're getting a lot of being duped into paying extra money for games that don't often deliver. Battlefield 2042.
The verbose they are. Yeah, exactly. So what I'm saying is that, and this is, again, I'm going to reiterate, this is an assumption. I'm not certain that this is what's happened or not. But I'm assuming that a person that goes on a tirade like this is also acting like this at work and is also unpleasant to be around. You see what I'm saying? I don't think this is just a isolated incident that he just keeps to himself online, especially whenever there are people that have complained to HR about it. That means that there's at least a group of people that have had to deal with this person in real life. And I also want to say this, is that I feel like almost no one can stand an absolute purity test.
Right.
If you had access to everybody's private conversations,
of course,
and everybody's private phone calls, and especially everybody's private thoughts, nobody could stand to be a purity test. Everybody would have really terrible things that would probably alienate them from their friends and maybe even also their family. They would be disliked and a pariah in society, and that's why they say them in private and not in public. I think that's the case. So whenever I see somebody saying bad things in private, I don't really care a whole lot about it. But the reason why I think this is more of an issue is the things about here where he was having people get fired and laid off.
Right.
Because I do think this probably happened based off of how ideological this person seems to be.
You're ruining people's lives because they don't align with your ideals. That's fucking shitty.
And it's something that I'm more inclined to believe, based off of the culture at Blizzard previously, and also the way that he's talking about it. It all kind of fits together. It feels like you're looking at a puzzle, and you're missing a few pieces, and this guy is a piece that would fit right into the puzzle. So it would make sense. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, there's a track record, there's precedence. This guy's probably a piece of shit. Yeah, for sure. I don't think private racism and sexism is common and normal for your average person. Sure, you're right, but other things that are just as bad or worse are. What I'm saying is that, like, there are a million bad things that somebody can do, and just because you don't do 2 bad things doesn't mean that you're not bad.
Yeah.
Like, other people, they plot to get other people fired for different...
The big thing is, from a media standpoint, you're always going to glorify the negative news surrounding racism, transphobia, homophobia, etc. These are like the hot topics, so that's why they garner more attention. But there are a number of things that can be deemed distasteful that people will continue to do, but they don't have the same amount of light shed on them for those reasons.
Different reasons. They steal things. They steal from the company.
Right.
They're like planning to get other people, trying to get a promotion by lying about stuff. They're misrepresenting their work. There's a million different things that people do that are bad. Racism and sexism are not the only 2 bad things in the world. And that's what I was saying about the purity test. Just because you don't do one bad thing doesn't mean that you're not doing other bad things.
Right.
People pretend to work and do other things instead. Exactly. People want to think everyone's shit stinks, but theirs. Yeah, exactly. So talking shit behind other people's back. Yeah, exactly. Like having friends, then constantly talking shit about them, like making fake relationships with people in order to get promoted in the office. Like there's a million different things that somebody could do that are really bad. And that's what I was saying, is that nobody can fully pass that test, I believe. And by no...
I've had my own experience with this. I worked for a company, I won't name it. People pretend to be your friend. They act like they're on your side. They wholeheartedly agree with you about people higher up who have a negative way of acting, which results in poor morale at work. And then when you try to raise the question about it, you get thrown out because everyone immediately turns face and says, well, I don't want to go out of my way and get let go, so I just won't say anything. Good times. Really enjoyed working there.
Nobody, I mean, almost nobody. Of course, there are some people that are just, you know, the paragons of virtue and justice and all of the right things in the world. But I'm going to be honest, I'm certainly not fucking one of them. So I don't think that many people in chat here are either. That's weird, to be honest. As I said, I think that there's something weird about everybody. There's something creepy about everybody.
Yeah.
And just because they're not doing your thing doesn't mean that your thing is any better. You see what I'm saying here? Me making connections is not the same as being racist or sexist. I think that lying and intentionally manipulating people at work and then misrepresenting your work or maybe stealing other people's work is also bad. No one's perfect. Yeah, using your connections to alienate your competition is fucked. Yeah, of course.
Yep.
So all I'm saying here, okay, is that all of the private conversations and everything like this, I don't really give much of a fuck about, right? I don't really care about this a whole lot. It's not that big of a deal to me. It's not that important, just in general. It's just not. What I do care about is whenever it manifests itself and it affects real people. Because thinking and having weird, cringy conversations on Discord doesn't really matter. But whenever you take that out of Discord and you put that in the real world, that's whenever it becomes an issue. It's kind of like the whole idea of free speech is generally a good thing, but whenever it actually is threats of violence or things similar to that, that's whenever it turns bad. So this is something that people are already pretty much agreed on, and I think this is a case of a person kind of going over that line and bringing it into real life, and then finally being held accountable for it and getting removed. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a lot scarier when it has physical presence. Exactly. People are getting fired and ruined on allegations only, which is equally as bad. True, I totally agree with you. Discord picture is a cat with the signature mustache.
And that was the point I was trying to make earlier, is even if it's in the stage of allegations, those allegations are demonizing to the company at large, and so the company is going to react accordingly. They need to be considerate of their bottom line. They don't want someone who allegedly is a prick. Don't be a prick.
The cat with the Hitler mustache? Yeah, I don't know. I think that there are plenty of people that do that because they just think they're edgy. Like, I think that there is a good amount of people that just say edgy, stupid, weird stuff to get attention. And that's not the same thing. I think it's very important
Your entire chat.
for people to identify what the difference is between people being ironic or edgy
I shouldn't say your entire chat, most of your chat, saying whatever buzzword is popular in that moment to get attention. Oh, there's even a moderator. Nice.
Edgy or stupid, and actual Nazis. I don't think these are the same thing. And I think it's disingenuous to say that they are. And whenever you say that they are, you delude the value and how bad the Nazis really fucking were, man. Like, they were really bad. Like, they did all kinds of, like, really, really crazy shit. Burned people alive. They poisoned people. They made furniture out of human skin. They did tests on people. Like, it's really, really fucking bad. And that's just the stuff that that I know about right off the top of my fucking head. These guys were nuts. And hey, a lot of other people did. Japan did similar shit. A lot of countries did similar shit. Should see the kind of stuff that China used to do. A lot of stuff, absolutely. But none of it should be glorified, and it's all fucking bad. Absolutely. So that's all I'm really trying to get at here, okay? Is that try to be honest with things, and I don't think this person is a Nazi. I just think that they're an asshole.
Right.
That's it. And he probably got fired for being an asshole. And also, he might have gotten fired for being bad at his job. There's a good chance that he could have gotten fired for being bad at his job.
Especially when you say, I'm working on my resume, I suck. Yeah. It sounds like you weren't there based on merit. It sounds like you were grandfathered in when the standards of hiring in the beginning were extremely low and you just hung on to your job and basically collected a paycheck while spouting your political ideologies. Go do something that matters.
So let's go ahead. We'll read some of the comments and I'll respond to those. We should see what China still does, what the fuck used to do. My dad, I don't know how true this is, but like my dad used to tell me a story of like a Chinese emperor or something like that would command people to drown themselves and kill themselves just for entertainment for him and his wife. I understand that China does really, really bad stuff now, but I think that you cannot even compare the bad stuff that people do now to the bad stuff people used to do. Look up the Brazen Bull. Look up what an actual Iron Maiden is. It is not even remotely fucking comparable. You have to understand that, like, the moral spectrum back then, slavery was not even seen as a bad thing. It was a completely different universe. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, it's still fucked up right now, but it's getting better. And thank God for that. Absolutely. Iron Man's never actually used. It was in documentary. Sure, then use another one of my examples that are basically the same thing. Maybe that one's not true. What about the Brazen Bull? Is that one true? I would say it is.
I don't like when people nitpick technicalities. Focus on the overall theme of what he's trying to explain rather than be like, well, this particular point isn't true, so I don't know if what you're saying has any point. It has plenty of points. It's not a matter of, oh, the Iron Man didn't exist, so your argument is invalid.
There are plenty of other ones that are bad too. Crucifixion, they actually did
Great
that,
example.
by the way. And they would actually do it upside down too. And it was definitely used.
Well,
the point is, like, it doesn't matter which one was used or which one wasn't. Let's say you give an example of 100 things, and 10 of them were actually fake. Okay, well then 90 are still real. It's still really bad. All I'm saying is that the spectrum of evil back then is much higher than it is now, and it's just incomparable. I'm surprised Blizzard is even still in business at this point. Have you not met Blizzard stands? The thing is, like, I'm gonna hit you guys with a little bit of a reality check here. Is that nobody gives a fuck about this stuff. The average person that's playing World of Warcraft doesn't care what Jeff Frazier said. Nobody gives a fuck about him. They don't care what happens to him one way or another. They don't care if he's a bad guy or a good guy. He doesn't matter to them. You know what they really care about is their fucking game. They care about their game being good. And all of this criticism from Blizzard is very warranted and very true.
I can assume that many of the people that I used to play WoW with assume that I don't play anymore because I'm making a stand and I don't believe in the stuff that Blizzard is doing as a company and therefore I'm boycotting their products. There's like maybe 10% of my opinion on whether or not I want to play their games where that is a contributing factor. The other 90%, I mean, even just yesterday, I was watching Heo play Seasons of Masteries. He was in Booty Bay. All the guards were asleep. And he's like, what do I do? Do I try to kill some lobbies or do I try to kill some level 60? And, oh, there are no level 60 here. Yeah, I wonder why. And then out of nowhere, he's like throwing distractions to try and make people run off the docks. And then an undead rogue level 60 just comes in and like cold blood ambush destroys like someone who is 15 levels lower than them just because that's fun. I understand everyone's, oh, it's called World of Warcraft. That's war. Sucks to be you. Yeah, but I'm also paying a subscription fee, and time in my finite life is precious to me. So I'm just going to play something else because I know that, especially in Seasons of Mastery, you had the original vanilla, which had a whole bunch of people who were focused on whatever the next big thing was going to be. They had bigger fish to fry. Then you had Classic, where everyone had done everything before and they were just doing it again. So when they had finally reached in their mind, their pinnacle, they ran out of stuff to do and started ganking lobies. Then you have Season of Mastery, which is filtered down to basically the addicts. And the addicts have done it for now a third time and have absolutely nothing better to do than to shit on people who dare step into the world for a third time. Maybe they're stepping into the world for their first time, and it's an awful experience. It makes the game look terrible. It's literally just milking a cash cow because they know how addicted people are to the game. Why would I want to participate in that? I'll just try and find something that's more fun, more interesting, which is why I'm playing Final Fantasy main story quest. And I can already feel the eyes rolling. Oh, Final Fantasy, you're just jumping on a bandwagon. No, I'm just interested in a different game that has a decently compelling story. And when I'm done with that, I'll try something different.
However, I think that it always plays a second fiddle to the fact that the content and the product is bad. And if the content and the product is good, nobody is going to give a fuck about any of this stuff. And that's the reason why Ubisoft and Riot had all these terrible things happen at Blizzard, at their company, the same bad stuff that happened at Blizzard, and people give them a free pass. Why is that? Because
not lately. I would say, at least in the case of Ubisoft, their products have been not necessarily disappointing, but less and less exciting as time has gone on. I think the last time I was really excited about a Ubisoft game was probably Assassin's Creed 2.
League of Legends is in a better state than World of Warcraft, and that's just the truth. They need to fix the fucking product, and if they do that, no one's gonna give a fuck about any of these people. This is all just a proxy for people being upset about the product. Ubisoft games suck balls, mate. That's your opinion, but enough people.
The important takeaway from that is because of the turmoil happening within Blizzard's culture, the game is suffering because the employees can't focus on making a good game. They have to be constantly ranting about what's going on in their company and debating ideology rather than focusing on game design and satisfying customers.
People disagree to where it's not being brought up constantly. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. What does Ubisoft have to do with League? Ubisoft is another company that had these issues. Of course, they didn't make League, but they made other games instead. Just look at Arcane, and it's really easy to forgive Riot. Yeah, exactly. This is what I said before. Every gamer boycott is 1 3-minute cinematic away from being over. Everybody is going to say, oh, man, I hate Blizzard. Oh, man, I hate these guys. I'm not going to buy any more of their products. Free Hong Kong. What, Diablo 4 is coming out? Oh, they have a new cinematic? Really? I guess I'll look at it. Yeah, let's see what it is. Watch the cinematic. You know what? I mean, like, my friends are playing it. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some good people at the company. I might as well try it out. I know it might not feel good for people that are, moral self-aggrandizers.
Fuck that.
But it's the truth. I've been boycotting Sony successfully for like 3 years. Yeah.
I'm willing to try another Blizzard game when they make a good Blizzard game. It's yet to happen.
Of course. There are some people, and that are the exception. But I think as a general rule, it doesn't matter. And you want my proof for that? Let me show you. See that? This is Bobby's world. We're just living in it. Yeah, this is Bob. We're just living in Bobby's world, boys. That's all there is to it. How is Bobby so good? Bobby's been stealing his mother's ashtrays and selling them for $1 ever since he was 5 years old. Do you think a sexual assault case is going to hold him down? This dude was in Epstein's black book. He flies around in helicopters. He doesn't even know what Reddit is. He has a Twitter account that he never fucking uses. He doesn't even talk to people. Okay? He does whatever he wants. He threatens to kill somebody. Oh, that's only the person that you heard about. Guys, we're living in Bobby's world. That's all there is to it. Play the Untouchable song. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, he only talks to strippers. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
He probably doesn't consider many to even be people.
Yeah, the guy's it's and what do you think the odds are right now of Bobby leaving the company? Let me ask you that. What do you think the odds are that Bobby is going to get removed? I think we're looking at a big ol' fucking goose egg, boys. A big ol' motherfucking 0. Because this shit's not going to happen. Like, why would they get rid of him if they're making money? And I remember my dad showed me, this is the thing, my dad showed me an article in the newspaper, right? Like that old fucking thing was written on like papyrus that was made by the ancient Egyptians, and it's sent around on horseback for all the boomers that were alive during the Civil War. Well, my dad gets that too. And I actually have it ordered to his house. I'm the one, I think, that pays for it still. Anyway, he actually showed me an article, and the article said to buy Blizzard Activision stock because the financial sector, the financial advice is to buy the dip. Do you think they care about a hashtag? Bro, these guys are counting zeros. They're counting money. They ain't thinking about shit. You know, all this social bullshit always plays a second fiddle to the content. It's all about money. I'm not saying it's a good thing either. It just simply is. Great buying opportunity, easy $100 next year. If a hashtag could destroy a company, there would be no company. Yeah, let's look at Kellogg's stock. How are they doing? Pretty much about the same as they were. With all of the negative press that Kellogg's is getting, and all of the hate that Kellogg's is getting, this is the actual effect. Check Amazon stock, okay. Up from last year. And way up from, obviously this was like the COVID stuff. Amazon is just making more money. It doesn't matter to them about how many employees they manipulate and how many companies and social media websites say AstroTurf to create a false sense.
From the perspective of an investor who's savvy and always in touch with the market, they're just salivating at the fact that a stock has tanked and now they get to buy low because they know it'll rebound.
Of a reluctance to unions with their employees. Doesn't matter how many piss bottles their employees have. Nobody gives a fuck. They just want their money. And there it is. No one cares. They'll keep buying shit anyway. Exactly. It's the same as like Kellogg's is just people don't want to buy things with Kellogg's on them. What's Kellogg's doing? Oh, they're just temporarily taking off their branding so the stupider customers can't effectively boycott them as easily. Let's look at Nestle stock. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just change the packaging.
They're doing great. Water is not a human right. Well, apparently the stockholders agree. They're huge in India. I doubt any of them heard of that there. No, it's the Indian... People in India have a lot of fucking problems, man. Like India, like there are some really nice places in India, and there's a lot of places that are not as nice in India. And the truth is that there's a lot of people in India that the last thing they have to fucking worry about is what some company said in another language they don't even understand. So yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about this, is that obviously I think this guy... just to wrap everything else up here, this guy is probably an asshole, and his asshole behavior probably manifested itself in the real workplace. And this is evident because of the HR reports and other people talking about bad experiences with this individual, that I do not think this is purely a private conversations went public and somebody's getting canceled for it. I think this guy is probably just a jackass, and I don't even know if he was good at his job to begin with. He got removed from the company, and I also don't think that this is really a big deal for a lot of people. I think people just want to see the game get better, and they want to see the company do better. People just want better products. So all of this stuff is just generally noise until we actually have the products to talk about once again. And it could be possible that this was a targeted attack on him. Yeah,
That's
it could be possible. This was a targeted attack on this guy, and it was actually because this guy is a conservative, and the Blizzard is like super SJW, and they were just trying to remove a conservative person from the company because they are ideologically driven, and they hate conservatives, and they hate men, right? Absolutely, that could be the case, but it's not what I'd bet my money on. Yeah,
yeah.
that's all. It's not what I bet my money on. Like, there's a chance that could happen, yeah, but it's just not what I think the probability is.
We can discuss the multiverse and how there's an unlimited number of universes with an unlimited number of possibilities, but that universe is extremely low probability. It only matters about a dollar, and they know that they'll sell the most products by taking this social justice stance. It's not about being misandrists. It's not about misandry. It's about just satisfying the stakeholders, i.e. the investors of the company. That's all Bobby cares about. And he's got his millions. Even if he was ousted, I'm sure he would do just fine and be headhunted to join the next big company that he would drive the stocks up for. It's interesting when people take these stances of, oh, well, they're just trying to satisfy the libtards. That's not even what it is. They're just trying to make money. And the way to make money is to have the best possible public perception, which is why the Kellogg's example is a great one. Because, of course, all they have to do is remove the logos and people don't make the connection.
Is a lot more than just conservative. Yeah, sure. This is what I've always said before, is that my mom got really into like the QAnon stuff, and she really liked the QAnon stuff, and she's like, oh yeah, this is really gonna happen. And at the beginning I was like, okay, like we'll see what happens, right? Because it's like the guy says something crazy is gonna happen in 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, well, we'll see what's gonna happen in 2 weeks. 2 weeks rolls around, nothing happens. Okay, I'm open-minded, but I have a limit. Oh, it'll be the next 2 weeks. Oh yeah, you won't believe what's coming. So that's the thing, is like I'm willing to believe things that are
Proven.
for it. I'm willing to believe things that are extravagant, that are extraordinary. But I will not believe something that is extraordinary without extraordinary evidence.
Right.
I don't think you should either.
People can speculate until they go cross-eyed. Nothing is going to happen to Blizzard. They're not going away. It's just a question of the quality of the products in which they're producing. And if the culture continues to suffer the way it has been, it's never going to improve. So all they're trying to do is just remove the people who are problematic and causing the negative perception by consumers at large, because what matters is good public perception equals people who have a willingness to make purchases based on their heart rather than their mind, and driving that bottom line all the more upward. It's sad, but that's capitalism. Deal with it.